Okay, folks, let's try this again. And where we left off here. Hey, Marcus, Happy New Year, man. Yeah, this has been an interesting exercise. It seems like I got really lucky. I either got really lucky earlier or really unfortunate now. All of the Plastic Soldier Company stuff I'd gotten at the beginning all seem to be real good issues. Really, the only issue with any of them was on the Panzer threes. The late set of the Panzer threes where you can make the M's and so forth. The cursed Panzer threes. There was a part on the front of the turret of the applique armor, the offset armor, that there was like a misprint on it. So I had to fill in some stuff there. And the shape of the turret is just weird. It's too tall. It's sloped too much. It's just something that just doesn't look right on it. Other than that, I think they're just fine. The Panzer threes that are the early war set where you can make the G's and so forth. Only issue I saw with them, and I'm talking about, they don't have to be a perfect fit. There could be things that could be dumbed down, I guess, detail compared to a model kit. But you're getting that. It's what they are. They're for wargaming. So it should be simpler builds. What they shouldn't be is a simpler build that has a lot of flash and things that you have to correct, or the instructions are just flat out wrong, or anything like that. That I kind of just find unacceptable. And the Czech 38 set was great. The 231 armored car set was great. The Sherman wet stowage was fine. The M5A1 Stewarts is fine. The quad tractors are fine. But these three that I got have some major issues. The Honeys, the Humber armored cars. That one probably has the less of the three, and the Valentines. The Humber armored cars, the instructions, they just had to take that one piece and turn it a little bit so you could tell what that piece was. And then maybe show the other side of the tank. But all three of these have a fair amount of flash on them. And the Honeys, the instructions are wrong. And they ended up having to cut these bolts off because they're incorrect, and you're spending a lifetime trying to take the flash off in between the bolts and the vision things on it, and it was just literally driving me crazy. You're bummed that I failed to notice the lack of duplicate main armament in addition to the difficulties in the kit build. We'll need to figure out some good rec ideas. Yeah. I'm glad I didn't buy 12 of these. This doesn't fit in well. A lot of trimming. Whether the detail or not is accurate, I'm not so worried about that. I mean, they're wargaming models, but I expect them to be easy to be put together. And that's not the. I mean, yeah, you could put them together and haphazardly, but the sides not fitting was just crazy. That's just absolutely crazy. I got a picture of it here. Because I'm going to go and when I do my unboxing, all this stuff is going to be included in it. Oh, I don't know if you saw this. I found this surfing around with things. There's the breakdown of the that someone did of the arms of service and the 76th armored cars for the 11th Hussars. Green blue is, according to this person, the correct marking for them. So, even though I asked it on some other specific group, and the guy was like, "Nah, I don't think that's the one." So, um, but this was actually off of an article on one of the ones that had the paint schemes. But this is it doesn't look that bad here, but you can't fit the fender on there. Hey Ben, sorry I had to crash, man. I'm super groggy considering how little I drank yesterday, and I did most of my drinking early. Yeah, look at this flash on the cupula of the honey. It's just insane amount of work. And if you look at pictures of it, these rivets aren't even right. It should have one, two. It should have like one, two, one, two. It's not just a single one. So, I mean, I don't have a problem painting them with the wrong rivets. We're not counting rivets, but we are if we have to like spend 3 hours cleaning up one side. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. Um, and here is the inside of what I'm talking about. So the inside piece of the honey looks like this. Okay. This is the part that goes up. This would be the right side because this is the front of it. This is the right side of the tank. This is this side right here. And to get it to fit flush, you got to take at least that much off. At least. I got it to fit flush. It's flush now. But you needed to reduce this. Now, the good thing about it is, again, I don't have a problem with the honey being a basic model. Look at the lights on there. I'm perfectly fine with that, okay? However, it should be able to go together right. No, now, fortunately, Plastic Soldier Company's plastic is really malleable. So I could take it off with an X-Acto knife. And it didn't take that long, but it goes together like crap. The other thing I didn't appreciate was, and see if it's visible on one of these, even though this isn't the honey version. No, it's not. There's a connecting post, this side thing that connects to the sprue, and it connects inside this channel. If you look at the edge of this, it actually comes down at an angle, and that's what it fits in there. And in that angle is a connecting post. So you have to trim it, and then you have to trim it down. After you do all that, okay, it's going to go together right. And you got this huge gap. And you're like, what's going on? It looks like you put it together, like you didn't know how to put it together. And it's a problem with the fit and finish on this. And I would have expected that from some other country where they make things sloppier, but maybe that's why they don't make cars in Britain. I don't know. I mean, had the same fender issue, worse for the universal carriers. I had to use some filler. Yeah, so I didn't. I didn't. I didn't do that because I didn't want to extend. And the funny thing is it felt fine. It fit fine on the back. The back is like I didn't do anything to the back, but it didn't fit on the front. I mean, it's not a big deal, but it's like everything I've had to touch has had a lot of flash on it, a lot. You have to come in and there's like all this extra flash on this machine gun. I don't know what this is. I don't know what's going on with these things. Now, That doesn't mean I'm not going to buy more. I'm just kind of surprised. You know, I'm just really surprised that that's the case. But that is really the case. Hey, Jeffrey. But these instructions are totally wrong. It's not just, oh, you got this wrong. No, this piece goes with the other one, and the other one goes like, even the example they showed you built is the wrong honey. The built, that's not a honey. The honey does not have the sponson machine guns on there. And even if it did, oh, we made an error and we put the sponson machine guns. Oh, sorry about that. Oh, this blue piece should be the green one. Okay, cool. You still told me to put the wrong freaking hull on. Because this is the hull. This should be the hull for the green one. And the green one is actually the hull for the blue and the red. So this hull is for these two vehicles. And this one is for this one. So once I saw there was some issue, I was alerted. I was alerted to the fact that there could have been some QC issues. No problem. Then we looked at the Humber, which was a nightmare. It was a nightmare for the wrong reasons. Put it together correctly, and I think the turret is a little undersized. But it looks okay now we're done here. These pieces at the front were just the work of the devil. Because here, and I did this live, I'm like, where is this bumper piece? Where is this bumper piece? Where is it? Well, this bumper piece is not, it looks like it's a straight piece. Like a bumper. And it's actually this entire armored flange. The problem is they showed it to you at this side angle where it doesn't even look like it is what it is. So once you put that in, you can figure out the way these things in the front go, kind of. But a lot of this stuff on Plastic Soldier Company could be solved if they had locator marks. Almost every other model builder has like a little etch or a little ledge for something to sit on. This doesn't have any of that stuff. It's just like free building, free sitting there. But I think the turret's a little undersized. I think the turret has a bit of it's supposed to have a bit of an overhang on the hull, and it does. It's inset of the hull. And I think we can build a Mark III, even though it says a Mark II and a Mark IV. I think you can build a Mark III by putting this main armament on this one. Because a Mark III is the Mark IV turret with the Mark II armament. I don't know if I'm going to try that, but Jeffrey alerted me that there was something askew with this. So, but other than that, I mean, I spent a long time looking at pictures. It's live there for trying to figure out what's going on here, because there's these notches that is what throws you off. Inside here, there's a notch that fits even with this axle on the back. You don't really need it because it's still far away from it, but I can see, okay, it's lined up. This notch where it goes doesn't line up with this axle. It's just they decided to put a notch in there for some reason. But it looks okay, but it was like, man, I'm glad I'm building one at a time, not like let's do all three. Like that would have been a nightmare. And the Valentine Mark II. If you look at the instructions, the Valentine Mark II. So the frustrating part isn't having to do all this. The frustrating part is it shouldn't take me all day to build one model. And that's basically what it's doing. It's totally within my skill set. And, maybe it doesn't matter to some people. But But there's the instructions for the Valentine Mark II. Looks like the same guy did the Armor Fast instructions, did the PSC instructions. Well, Armor Fast isn't building any more stuff. I actually did I have a problem with building the Armor Fast Panzer Force? I don't remember them being a problem. Here's the Valentine instruction sheet. And I'm like, because this is the third one I'm doing. I'm like, I already know these guys are, somebody at this company failed a drug test. I don't know who it is, and I still love the company. Don't get me wrong, but I'm looking at this and I'm like, all right, they give me two different, let's back up. Let's go back up to the honey. I was running into all these issues, and there's two fronts. There's two fronts on the honey turret. You got to use this one for the red and the blue, and you got to use this one for the green. They're the same. They're identical. They're identical freaking fronts. There's nothing different about them. Same number rivets, everything. I don't know what direction they were going to. See, we're not done yet. These external fuel tanks, okay, that they show on the honey in the desert. The only Commonwealth honey I've been able to find them all is one that is, I think it's at Bovington. And it's one that they use like in the Pacific or whatever. It's like an Australian one or something like that. These, you'll see these in early versions of them on there for long distance travel. So as much as I like how they look, I'm not going to put mine on there because it's incorrect. The Valentine. I'm looking at both of these and like, they look like the same freaking hull until you turn them sideways. And then you've got one that is rounded and doesn't have the side shields like this one, and then the sand shields. And then the other one, which is this one, has the sand shields for it. If you look at Valentine Mark IIs, other than ones that you find maybe training in Britain, they all in the desert, every single last damn, even ones knocked out, have the sand shields on them. So this hull should be the one for this vehicle. And then Mark IIIs, they go both ways. And then you start getting into these Mark IXs, and they do have many of them that don't have the sand shields. So really, this one that doesn't have the sand shield should be for this one. The turret for the Valentine Mark II is completely flush, and if you look at any pictures of it, it has the Beza machine gun that's sticking out on the, I guess it'd be on the right side, so on the far side here. So I drilled it out. I drilled mine out. Should be right here. I'm going to put some kind of a piece of sprue or something like that sticking out of it. Not a big deal. I've had to do that on other vehicles, but it wasn't even like represented on there. What else on here? I don't know about the extra stuff to add on there. I didn't, because I'm gonna have to do some deep dives on there to figure that out. Oh, the hatch. The hatch that goes on the top of this. I'm gonna send you a picture of it. It actually goes both ways. It's a hatch you have to cut if you want it open. I'm actually okay with that. That's more efficient. However, take a look at this hatch. It is exactly... Oh, now you're wanting to rotate on me? Okay, well, I'll show it like this. It is symmetrical. Even though it's it's trapezoidal. But it is symmetrical. The only difference is there's two things that are on. One side has these two little rivets. The other one has what looks like to be a latch or a grab hand. I challenge you to look for any pictures of a real vehicle or line drawings or model kits by Tamiya or anything along that lines to be able to tell you which one of the two faces forward. They don't have either one of those two things. They'll have a latch that's on both sides. So I had to make an executive decision. The two dots go forward. Again, does it really matter? No, but if I'm going to go through all this trouble, I'd like for it to be right. The Mark IV turret looks okay from reference of photos. Okay. The axle guards were the worst part of the kit. Well, the front ones anyways, yep. Did you manage to figure out which aerial to use? I have placed the stowage in different places in each model. The aerial for the Humber, I've not. I'm just ecstatic to find out that. The bad thing about the Humber is I'm not going to be able to name them. They're going to have, they're going to be overall light stone, no camouflage, and they're going to have numbers in black that start with an F. I've got several examples of what they look like. I haven't gone any more forward on this stowage. Do we have aerial issues? Like, is there an aerial spot here and an aerial one in the back? I wouldn't be surprised. The Honey has an aerial that's back here somewhere at an angle. So it's swept, which is really cool. Almost like at a 45-degree angle. There is no markings or anything for that. So, and unfortunately, when you put this big box where it needs to go is like right here, which means that I don't know how I'm going to drill in there. So, I may drill something out and put a little piece of tubing or glue a piece of copper tubing at a little bit of an angle to make it come out or something. But yeah, the Honeys are definitely going to have aerials because, that stands out like, anybody's business. I didn't like the fact that every one of these Honeys has to have this 30 cal machine gun at this angle. But if you look at pictures, that's like the normal spot for it. I mean, you'll see pictures or illustrations of it facing in other directions. One side of this, of the post that the 30 cal fits in is flat. So that's got to go up against the turret. I would have thought that would have been cast on the turret. And you could slide this thing down and turn which way you wanted it. But that's not the case. So it wouldn't be that difficult to cut this off and then rotate the top part whichever way you wanted it to be. But you can't really have it this way because then the hatch isn't open. And the third one will have a commander in it. But just kind of weird. Just kind of weird. The base is super thick. I'm actually okay with that because I was able to drill it out. It looks like a 2-pounder. But the turret's small. But it was a 2-man turret. I referenced to my Matchbox Revell Humber II models for my collection. Smaller aerial for the Mark II and bigger one for the Mark IV. We'll check that out. Thank you for the warning. That's extremely helpful that you're like making me like, I don't want to have to go and undo stuff, and unfortunately, sometimes I have faith in like, oh, well, this is how they say to build it. And then you go and like, oh, that isn't the case at all. If it's a vehicle I'm very familiar with, but like I said, the British vehicles are just as nuanced as the German vehicles. Like they start making something and, well, they got to do it at another factory and they make it slightly different and they make a few and then they modify it and they field modify these. So they're just as interesting as the German vehicles from the standpoint of there's all these little marks and modifications and things like that. However, it's not as well documented. I don't think it's as well documented as the German stuff. And just for the record, this is ugly as shit. It really is. It looks like a duck. But that's what they had. These are going to be for the 8th RTR. They're going to be swimming with a field of kiwis, heading towards 0.175, I believe, is what it is. Now, I've noticed another mystery. There was this one article, I don't remember what it was, or it was a post, and I think it was written by, can't remember what his name is. Is it Peter Brown? It was somebody who was somewhat of an authority on British tanks. And it was a comment that went something along the lines of, the British never used Portland stone overall on a vehicle. So if the vehicle had like no counter on it, it was going to be light stone, not Portland stone. Okay, potato, potato. They're not that different in color. But, the difference between Portland stone and light stone. Not much of a difference. Especially when you weather it. Portland stone's a little more bone and has a little bit pinkish, more pink than the light stone. Not a big deal. However, there is a set of decals that seems to be pretty accurate by a company called Echelon. They make a lot of different things. They make like Panthers at Kursk, and they do like, the whole set where you can get like Panzer layer, all in 1/35 scale. I'm not going to buy the decals. I just, want to know where it is. I'll hand paint the stuff. And all the side views they show of their stuff, they actually have 3 sets for the Valentines, including ones for 8th RTR at City Rizet. Almost said it wrong. I almost said it the Tick way. I don't have too many problems with Tick, but that is one. I don't like his City Rizet. Like, okay, I've never heard that pronounced before that way, but. And on those color plates, if you squint just enough, and I'll pull it up here, Valentine tank decals. They're pretty involved, right? So if we click on one of them, go out of stock, that's fine. What's the name of this company? Hobby Search. This is part 2. It's really pretty detailed. And we'll say, Harry II. Well, we know there's lots of pictures of Harry II. And they actually have, down here at the bottom, the counter scheme colors. And they match what I've been using from the AK set, which also matches the one Starmer's book. Portland stone, the slate, and the silver gray. And it lays all these out. These vehicles that are completely blank, they don't have any counter scheme on them, which is where you're going to see most of these. The new Valentines would basically not come with counter, because counter was on the way out around October of 1941. So every new Valentines it would have gotten would have just come in an overall sand color. The sand color, according to this, is Portland stone, but that contradicts the other thing, that other document. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do on that. I think I'm going to do them with light stone. I think I'm gonna do one of the Valentines in counter, the other one not. So there's lots of food for thought. So much food for thought, you're gonna get indigestion. You made your Humbers with spare wheels on the front, as I want to use both Mark II and 4, although the Mark IV had their spare wheel on the side. Interesting. Well, I didn't put mine on there yet. I don't know what I'm going to do. And I thought the Mark IV was the 2-pounder, but apparently it's not. It has the 37 in it. So anyways, lots of food for thought. I just expected better out of Plastic Soldier Company. With regards to instructions and accuracy. I mean, I know they're skimping over some of the details. I'm actually fine. Look, if the headlights are durable, they won't fall off and I won't be missing like has happened on a few of my things. That's my biggest gripe with 3D printing is some of those little things fall off, you know? But when I was building those Humbers the other day, I'm sitting there thinking in my head, I'm like, Jeffrey told me these are messed up. And I haven't found anything messed up yet. Jeffrey told me they were messed up, and I haven't encountered them. When I saw that it was a top and two sides and a bottom to go together, I'm like, I bet it's not going to fit. It fit together really well. I'm like, I haven't encountered him yet, so it was like, I was walking through like a haunted house, waiting for somebody to jump scare me. And yep, there it was. So I appreciate the heads up. Oh. Ah, yes. We will remove some of these rivets here. We'll remove 2. So that will fit. All right, and I'm not going to put the flimsies on this one, on this side. We'll see. As I am probably going to do some kind of a baggage on them of something to make them different. And now we got 2 of the honeys done. And by the way, if you watch my video of building this, I lost one of these things. It just jumped back. You probably heard it on the video. Bounce. Haven't found it yet. I've literally been on my hands and knees, so one of these may not have this thing up front. I don't care. Sometimes you just have to just move on. And I mean, my floor is spotless. Still, I don't know where the hell it went. Bounced. I don't know. I checked in the chair. It hit the floor. I heard it hit the floor. I don't know where the hell it went. I can glue that piece in afterwards once it turns up. So, there's only one piece I never found, and that was I have a Matchbox die-cast Panzer IV is it Easy 8? I don't think it's an Easy 8. It's an M4A3 76 millimeter tank in die-cast metal. It's heavy as hell. And at one point, about a year ago, or a year and a half ago, I was stripping it, or I was taking pieces off of it to, to paint it, and the turret at some point hit the ground, and the 50 caliber machine gun that was in the commander's position, which was, it's something that came pre-built, fell off and just disappeared. And we've moved from that house and I still haven't found it. I mean, there was nothing left in that room. So, it went into outer space. It went into outer space. The one thing I do like about the Humber is it's all on one sprue. It is all on one sprue. So anyways, I'm going to do all this on the unboxing video. Not to, poo-poo Plastic Soldier Company, but just to, like, you guys need to be aware of this. And oh, of course I need the box because you got El Cheapo and put the instructions on the box. So 11th Hussars they are. But they do a lot of things that are right, like these one-piece wheels. Yeah, that's what I want to see. I don't want to put two halves of two wheels together. All right. Clip, 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 clip. Bottom hole. So, if I had encountered this the Humber kit as a kid, I probably wouldn't know where to put those things and just left them off. And honestly, it wouldn't make that much of a difference. Okay, whole bottom, whole top, whole side. I guess it's practice for tomorrow. It's been over today. And let's go ahead and clip these other pieces off. We have the back. The bumper, now that we know what it looks like, and the two axles. And here's the piece that we're missing because I grabbed this one from this set. It's a big piece. I don't know why. I don't know how it just disappeared. It just disappeared into the ether. And I'm not going to cast another one using the Hinoda Washi Washi. And the front visor plate, which is right here. And what I like to do is, I like to trim all this big stuff off first to get it close. And there is some 3D printing to this because you can actually see there's a little bit of a pattern on their plastic. And I don't know what that means. Whether they 3D printed one and then they made molds. I'm really not sure what the process is. I know it's not very noticeable. But once I found out there was issues with this, I'm like, okay, Guilty until proven innocent. Let's make sure everything is... I don't want to have to take one of these things apart. So thank goodness this is all happening in a time period where we have the internet. And reference material too. And I say, the internet because, you can't sit around, you can't buy a $15 model and then buy, $45 worth of material for it. I mean, that just doesn't make any sense. But like, it's relatively easy to find out, if you're like, hey, I'm going to build a Panzer 3L, when they come out, when they go into service. Like, that information is pretty easy to find out on multiple websites written all over the place. But to find out when, like, the Humber Mark II went into action, it's a hell of a lot more vague. The Marmon Harringtons, like the Marmon Harrington Mark IIIs that I have, takes a lot of back and forth stuff on there. The German stuff's relatively easy to find. Might be an idea to fit the axle guards before you assemble the hull. I don't know what I would have done, Jeffrey, if I had not found this as the bumper and put it on first, so it would tell me where to put it on. It was this was the deciding factor, this piece. But I'm looking at it on the instruction, and they show it sideways like this. Like, I didn't know it was this piece. It wasn't until I kept moving and was looking at the pieces that are left over, and it dawned on me that this was a piece that didn't even remotely look like it on the instructions. So I'm going to assemble that thing on pretty early on. You can watch it in the video, man. I swear I spent an hour trying to figure out how it went. Maybe even more than an hour. I just wasn't expecting that amount of time wastage. And I looked at model kits and I couldn't figure out, And I think at one point I said, I'm not the world's best modeler. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm at least an 8 though. So if I'm struggling with this, I'm better than an 8. But that's, it's hey, I take my contacts out. I'm like a 9.5. I can see all kinds of stuff that hasn't even happened yet. But if I'm struggling with some of this stuff, I know some other people are like in severe pain. And a lot of it is solved because the instructions are poor or wrong. There's no locator lines. If there would have been a locator line, here on the side of the hull, where's the side of the hull? One of these pieces where you knew, oh, there's a little line here. Well, this must line up with one of the other pieces. Or if there was like a little ledge for it to sit on, like, most civilized model companies would do, like Tamiya and things like that. That would have solved it altogether. But the Russians do the same damn thing. That PST that I have, it's just like, here's one drawing, have fun, and all these arrows going every which way. And you're like, does this one go in front of the other one, or does the other one go in front of it? Because you're trying to decipher everything, and you're having to look at, you know, it's just weird, you know. Have fun storming the Reichstag. You know, and I don't have an agenda like I got to get these done by a certain time, but man, you have this idea like, hey, I'm going to model for about 4 hours. Certainly I can get 2 vehicles done, and you barely get one done. Like, what the? You know, there's obviously an issue. I spent at least an hour and a half. I spent at least an hour and a half a jar of Tamiya light glue fitting the axle guards. Finally worked it out by looking at the cover box art. I'm looking at the box art and it still didn't help me because it didn't have this piece. It was missing this piece as the bumper. And I just figured it was miscast or not shown. And it's not really the bumper, it's the fairing there. I don't know, the protector of the internals. Oh well, that's behind us. I'm glad. You know, note to self: don't build multiple vehicles at once. You know, because this build won't take as long. We know where things go. We know where things go on this. And I was like, okay, let's test this to make sure that everything fits on here right. And this is how you do these hauls, okay? And I said, I'm not going to complain that they do crap. They do a lot of things right. Look at this. Nobody else would have done this. If this was a Matchbox, this was something else, these plates on the side would be completely hollow by somebody else. They wouldn't be included. You know, this piece of plastic that's like this, that would not have been included by anybody else. Well, what does that mean? What it means is that by including them, you know exactly where they fit. And not only do you know exactly where they fit, let's make sure we put it on correctly. Not only do you know exactly where they fit, they don't slide on you. Like if you've ever built that bloody Hetzer by Italeri, which used to be the Eschi kit, it's a nightmare because you have this plate that's supposed to be at this angle like this, but that the pieces aren't angled together. So you have to like pretend that it holds, and it just a nightmare. This is how you do it. So this is done correctly. Like these guys are smart. You know, I expect them to do everything like that way. But yeah, that Hetzer was a nightmare. Thank goodness it didn't have rubber band tracks too. That would have been like, forget this. No wonder somebody sold this to Noble Knight. They won't deal with it anymore. So now when you come over to this piece, you just go, and it holds in place where it's supposed to be. And same thing with the other side. Nobody else would have done this. Somebody else would have been, they'd either make this hollow or this hollow, and then you're balancing these pieces at these funky angles. These oblique angles. And then the top. Should fit on there beautifully, and it does. I mean, like, beautifully. So they're not slouches when it comes to a lot of this stuff. little bit more in here. I mean, the back fits beautifully. And they're durable. Their axles are super durable. Then I have any, hey, let's build these little spring things. F that. Let's move on, you know? Why spend any of this? Oh, only Marcus paints the underside of them. You're currently refurbishing an Airfix Crusader 1. Crusader you inherited from my late friend. Missing a rear sprocket, so need to search my spares box. We'll build it as a Mark II or a Mark III. Yeah, I don't know if you can make a casting out of the Hinodawashi stuff, or if you can even get that in the United Kingdom, or if that's even a route that you want to go down. Yeah, see this fits. This axle fits on there perfectly. And I still don't want to use the super glue for this, because if I need to adjust this or change this, at least there's some hope that I can somehow melt it again and try round two. Hinodawashi. Okay, now we're starting to get into the areas of this is what we need. This is what we need to assemble last. This is what we need to assemble next. And once you have this, you realize, oh, okay, now it makes sense. The other thing is they give you this other box back here with no intentions on how to use it. No instructions on how to use it. See if I can find it. I believe this is the one. Oh, I'm sorry. It's the honey that's that way. That's two different boxes, and one of them doesn't tell you which one to use. This is the big box that goes back there. Sorry, gluing the tarp covers on the side of the grant. Not a great fit. All right. Well, we need to start a consulting business for model things. I hope to, you've got some business acumen. Oh, I didn't think I was going to use that word today. start up a business, and I expect most of my salary that I get paid now to go towards that, and we can make something happen. Consulting services, so people can put their stuff together. All right, let's get these guard things on. And again, this is one of these things that makes no sense. It has a notch, and the notch isn't needed. It's so far away from the axle that I don't see how that would be beneficial. I mean, if it sat right up against it, it would be one thing. But it's pretty far away. I don't know. Well, I didn't know that Armor Fast is out of business, so if you have any interest in getting more Armor Fast things, when I went there 2 years ago, that train store in the basement had a set of Stugs. Had the Stug Armor Fast set. I didn't pick it up. But if you really want to go on a tear with Stugs, the best thing is to wait for Kulan to come up with. I've seen the preview pictures of like 17 different versions of them, and that just looks like outstanding. Stugorama. And this is going to be attached here. And attached in here. This thing is still incorrigible. And then this side, the same but backwardswardly. Backwardswardly so. But these have two things that are going for them. They have this plastic that's really easy to manipulate, and that you can use weld cement. That's what I don't like about the resin kits, is or the 3D printed stuff. Is I can't use this stuff. Okay. Now that we have that piece located, we can cut this out. And we can grab the other one from the other kit until it turns, I mean, this is a big piece. I don't know why I can't find this on the floor. It's a relatively large piece. But it hit down here and just flew away. And I've gone all the way to the corner, and I've gone all the way to this corner. So And obviously it's not in the middle. All right, let's go grab the other sprue, get that other piece from it. I really don't like it when they have these connector pieces like this and they connect at the meeting of the top latch and the bottom one. So not only do you have to trim it flush, but you need to come in from the other direction and like go up to this ledge, and hopefully the ledge holds so you don't put this through your finger. And then come in from the other direction and then just cut it. So it's stuff like this that just takes a long time to do this. And this, hey, it's got some locator nubs. So we're just going to put the stuff around there to make sure the latch faces down. And it'll be located where it's supposed to be located. Okay, now for the fun thing. And the reason why I was able to tell what it is because this matches the angle down here. So I can attach that like that. I can attach it like this. Grab the tweezers and hope it doesn't fly away. And then once I have it where I want it to, I can go ahead and add weld cement to the other ends that were kind of free floating, or I can make a mess like that. Take almost all of it off. And that's where it goes. But there's a notch here. Like, I don't know what good the notch does. Like, it's not even with the axle or anything like that. Where are these? Man, this is a tougher task than I expected. I think I'm going to need to come back after and reinforce these tarps, maybe from the underside and then touch up the paint. Worried these won't hold with a lot of handling. All right, gonna run for a nice short week ahead. Be up early tomorrow. I'll be up early tomorrow too. I used poly cement for some of the larger items as the weld cement evaporated before contact. Yeah. Poly cement. I'm not sure what that is. That's not the one that comes in a tube, is it? That should be called tubular cement. Tubular, man. Hold on a second. Okay. Laughing over spilt milk. 2025, the year of klutzery. I'm sure I'll contribute enough to my... The 4 tires. I'm going to do something different with the tires this time. I'm going to do something different. I'm going to cut this, the spare. I'm not going to attach the spare, but I'm going to do something different. I'm not going to attach these with the weld cement because I kept having to adjust them. So I'm going to actually super glue them now that we know that it fits okay. Yeah, this is just, it looks fine. I mean, it is what it is. And I'll probably build the Mark IV turrets and have them to switch out if I needed to. If they go into Tunisia or something like that, I hope they can use them then. Although if I was going to paint them specifically for Tunisia, I'd paint them a different color. Tunisia or Sicily. I don't know. I'm not very interested in Sicily. Sicily is just like a sideshow that just didn't last very long. All right, so we're going to go ahead and that's sitting off to the side. Well, it's going to end up going in the bin there. I've given up on cutting this into smaller pieces because it's just nothing to hold on to. There's one. Two. Done in the style of Peaky Blinders. Hold on a second here. He's probably saying, Rogue Heroes Series 2 looks promising. I love the darkly comic take and the use of modern music. Nothing like the book it is based on, and Patty Mayne is not treated well in the TV series. Done in the style of Peaky Blinders. Don't you mean done in the style of Peaky Blinders? I haven't seen Peaky Blinders. It's just a subject matter that doesn't really interest me. Did it disappear from us, or we have to wait another year to get it? You guys have it this year or something? I don't know. I can certainly wait for it. Let's just say when I was done with the series, I wasn't motivated. I wasn't super motivated to paint some SAS guys. So it failed in its mission as far as I'm concerned. That doesn't mean I'm not going to. It just means that I'm just not super interested in it. It didn't motivate me to do that. Just released today on BBC Player. Yeah, I'll have to see if we have... How many episodes is it? And then to release all the episodes, or are they only doing one a week? That's what I really dislike. Like, I don't want to watch stuff until it's like all out there. Like, you're not leaving me hanging. Show me another episode. Oh, not leaving me on that one. Six episodes and all released today. Let's see if I can... it was on Amazon, I think, wasn't it? Shopping video. Prime Video. Me. Who else would I be? Season 2 premieres 1/12. Alright, so maybe this is something we need to watch on the plane. because we fly out on 114. Yeah, so we gotta wait another week or so, whatever it is. No, no problem. Just dropping in and out as I watch you. I will binge watch later on. Yeah, it looks like we'll have to wait a week for it. Hopefully it's. I think it started off, I was more interested in watching it than my daughter was. And then towards the end, I think she's more interested than I am. I'm like, okay, well, we gotta, I guess we gotta watch it now, but. Oh, what are these things? Aerials? See, it doesn't even tell you. Is that what these things are? What are these? These are above the turret pieces. They're not even shown. Look at this. Here they are here at the top, these two things. And they're not even shown in the sprue. They're eliminated from the sprue, and they're not shown anywhere on the pictures. Wow. I'm going to see if my theory proves true. Well, no, it shouldn't work. It shouldn't work because the front of this is different than the other one. And the turret's going to be bigger. Yeah, so I can't make a Mark III without changing it a lot, and there's just no point in doing that. Because a Mark III is just a Mark IV. Is a Mark II with a Mark IV turret. Got the armament of a Mark II. All right, where are we off to next? We got to put these little side things on. Should be two of those. Almost look like little garbage cans. Okay. What the hell was that? And oh no, it probably would work. I bet you could. I bet I could put this Beza machine gun in the Mark IV turret, and just put the machine gun by itself. That might actually be worth doing. Well, we're going to build this as a Mark. I'm going to build this as a Mark II. There's going to be definitely two of them. A three would probably be more useful around, say, Alamein or something like that. I'm guessing it's about how long it took for them to come out. I really don't know much about Alamein. Other than I think the Germans pushed, didn't get anywhere, and then just kind of held. And then there were several attacks that the British did that also didn't get anywhere until later in the year. It wasn't until October? The Germans pushed in June, and that Ruisat Ridge, which involved the Valentines. That's in like July or something like that. Something like that. I've never even gamed Alamein. It just seems like almost like the Battle of the Bulge. Like it's just too late. You should have the book SAS Rogue Heroes read to you. Oh, okay, on Audible you mean? I don't know, is one of the characters, is the Spy Master wear drag? Sounds like the name of a book title in itself. All Spy Masters wear drag. Maybe that's where the saying maybe that's where the saying "that's a handsome woman" comes from. That's a handsome woman. Not a good sign. I'd rather my women not be handsome. Yes. Lightfoot and Supercharge were really World War One battles fought in World War Two. Okay. Lightfoot. Yeah. Man, I wish they would make the Desert Armor book, the second part of it, in Audible. But heck, I haven't even finished the first one, so I'm getting ahead of myself. So this should fit like this, and it pops up a little above the top of this, just a wee tad. Now, why are you still wet? Why has the super glue not set? I should have used the real super glue. Now, I'm going to tempt fate. Let's take some of this off. Brush this on, but I'm not going to use les fingers. At least not on that side. And that's where it needs to go. And I'm going to get my arc welder and weld it in place like that. Yeah, this is still wet. That didn't work either. That's what I wanted to avoid. Baga. That's what I wanted to avoid altogether. Ben McIntyre. Is he the author or the one reading it? I know there's so many things. There's so many things to read. The one I'm doing is the one I'm reading right now is called An Army at Dawn, and I'm really interested when they get into Tunisia. Right now, they're working their way over there. From Operation Torch, and there's all kinds of unusual stuff in there that I've never heard of before. It's almost like a work of fiction. Too much. There we go. He did books about Agent Zigzag and Operation Mincemeat. I haven't seen that movie yet. Is it worth a damn? Mincemeat has a lot of allspice in it, doesn't it? That's one of those things that doesn't make any sense to you as a kid. It's like, this is Mrs. Mincemeat. I'm like, what kind of animal is this? No, it's mincemeat. It's not an animal at all. Like, what's it called? Meat then? Things that are confusing to you as a child. I'm going to do this the same way I did the other one. I'm going to put it in place, and then I'm going to tack weld it. Who says you can't have fun doing this? I don't mind going to work tomorrow. I just don't want to wear work clothes. I've had several days. I've had a long time of wearing whatever the hell I want. And honestly, I can pretty much wear whatever I want at work. I just don't want some things to. I don't want some of my stuff to go to work, get trashed. There we go. Time to tack weld this puppy. And here. And here. I rather liked that. Agent Zigzag looked like somebody that was taking sniper fire. Serpentine! Alright, 2 of these flimsies. Have little notches on them. This is one of them. And the other one's over here. And these are the 2 that go on these little notches on the back. There and there. Okay. I'm going to build a Mark IV turret. And then I'm going to see if that beza fits in it. The big beza and the little beza, because they're both bezas. But I'm not going to glue it in there. Yeah, and I'm assuming it's these over here, because they're all together. Actually, if this works, there is some purpose of making one as a Mark II, one as a Mark III, and one as a Mark IV. I know that sounds crazy, but or at least close enough to a Mark III. That is not a piece of flash. Do not remove it. Supposed to chop these down to size. What happened? Might as well do all the heavy lifting with this tool. I wonder what the lifespan of these Tamiya cutters is. I mean, I was thinking, as expensive as these things are, I should never have to buy them again. Certainly shouldn't have to file them down. I mean, we're only cutting things of plastic, soft plastic in this case. And we did the front. Okay, so luckily these have locators. Which side's the front? Circular part towards the front. Okay, so this piece needs to go Okay. And the back should be this one, like right here. Now the moment of truth. Like a glove. Like a glove. Perfect. Yeah, it's inexcusable that a company that does so many things right would have instructions that are that terrible. Sorry, I just expect more out of them. Okay? Now, prepare to get crazy. This is supposed to get 37 millimeter. What happens if we put that in its place? Can we make a Mark III out of this? Well, it damn near fits. Interesting. Interesting. If I could only cast that piece. Humber Mark III. care about that. Okay. Design, evolution. Man, there's a lot of ads on here. Mark II. The Mark III was a significant upgrade with a wider rear extended turret conceived for 3 men in order to accommodate a wireless operator, freeing the commander from this task. This allowed the fitting of heavier armament. A subvariant eliminated the gun placed by a dummy to make room for an extra wireless. Number 19, high power radio that's generated in order to operate as a mobile HQ. 1650 were produced between 1941 and 1942. The Fox armored car was a Canadian-built version of the Mark III. Mark IV was the final and best upgrade and also the biggest variant production. From 1942 to 1945, the crew reverted to 3 due to the adoption in the same 3-man turret of a larger gun. The U.S. made M5 or M6 37mm gun. Meanwhile, a better model of the Coventry armored car was being developed but was later abandoned. The turret hatches and internal layout was also rearranged. 2,000 plus were produced. Humber Mark I. Interesting. This is Humber Mark III in Tunisia, early 43, and the turret looks different than this one. The Humber Mark IV has a different turret. So there's no point in doing this exercise because if this is to be believed, this almost looks like the turret for the Humber Mark III, not the Humber Mark II. Yeah, who cares? You were saying about the 4 has the spare wheel in a different place. I don't see it there. There's a lot of field modifications. Right. Well, we're gonna build all 3 of these. We're gonna set this turret off this side. We're gonna build all 3 of these as Mark IIs. And we can still build the Mark IV turrets, but you know, if they're going to be some kind of like olive drab type color, that's not going to work because we're not going to paint the bottom of these in that color. Woo! Now it actually gives me 2 different commanders. Both of them British. One of them is the commander that I've got in a Sherman already. I can't tell you how many times I've vacuumed this floor in the last week. There's all these little bits of plastic. It's like plastic sawdust. Use the pieces that comprise, not compromise, that comprise the turret of the. Is this finally glue? No, they're still like freaking weird, man. This weird ass green super glue. It still like gives. Be right back. Be right back in a moment. Well, that was a little extended. All right. I don't know if any of you World War II nerds are still listening. Yes, I'm one of them. King nerd. But not a burglar. Oh man, everybody's a nerd about something. Anyways, I don't know if any of you World War II nerds are on here. So, we have a limited amount of time in London. And for those of you that have been, thank you. How would you rate the following three places? In what order? I mean, if anybody's even listening. How would you rate the British Museum, the Imperial War Museum, and the Churchill War Rooms? How would you rate those? And we're doing kind of a regroup meeting there. That's what took so long. We're going to watch some YouTube programs. Like, I'm looking up some YouTube stuff that we're going to watch together at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on all three of those places. I think we have time to do 2 of them. Plus the other stuff that we want to do as well. I personally think that if I had to miss one, it would probably be the Churchill War Rooms. Not to mention, you have to pay for that one. It's not included in our taxes that we're going to pay in the United Kingdom. And, the wife's going with us. So, it's not like it's all World War II all the time. So, there's stuff, and there's mummies and all kinds of other cool shit in the British Museum as well. We're still going to have to hustle. We're fast walkers, so we're there to get shit done. We're going to see things. You have any interesting things that happened on your New Year's celebration? Like, somebody spilled like a bottle of champagne or something like that, Rick? Imperial War Museum, British Museum, then Churchill War Rooms. Okay, so as I suspected. I would add the Science Museum too. Well, I can only do 2, so adding a 4th one's not going to help. Okay. Yeah, I got to do the Imperial War Museum and make sure that everything's painted the correct color and shit like that. All right. Excuse me, sir. This is not light stone. Someone get me David Fletcher and his mustache. I would love to go to the Tank Museum. They're just it's too far away from London Centre. It's too far away. It was very uneventful from that regard. No one made a complete ass of themselves this year. Not a complete, just a partial. Was the celebrations that you took place in, was it at your house? Or did you go to your folks' house? You got a good... there's no reason not to have parties at your place, man. The only problem with your place, as far as I can tell, is carpet. I am just... Once you get used to not having carpet in your house, it's like, how did we even live with carpet? I would have lost stuff and never would have recovered in carpet. As a matter of fact, I've got things that fall on the floor and they just disappear in the ether. Even, I guess, whatever not the ether, because they travel down, so I guess that would be into the netherworld. Into Hades. Those plastic pieces disappeared into Hades' underpants. Wait, he's Greek. He doesn't wear underpants. It was my folks' kind of a dual celebration for her birthday. So, I have only traveled twice that I can remember at this moment for New Year's. In other words, like, we went somewhere and on that night we happened to be driving around. And I don't want to do that again. Because there's some crazy people out there. Like, if there's a day that people drive drunk, that's the day people drive drunk. And that's not cool. The year that we went to Nashville and we had to drive back we went to go see a concert that was an 80s, they did a bunch of 80s covers. They were awesome. They were like on this big barn outside and the temperature was cold and it was a really good, but driving back from Murfreesboro to Nashville where we were staying was on the interstate was freaking scary. For the other people, like I planned accordingly, like, okay, like I'm going to drive, all right, we're going to drink a little bit and about 10, no more drinking, right? We're going to stay till 1. Like you gotta be responsible. You can have fun, but you need to be responsible, folks. You use an apron or an old shirt when cutting into a bag if possible. An old shirt. An apron. How would an apron would help? I mean, unless it's like a bib. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It hit the floor. I heard it hit the floor. I don't know where it is. I'm not worried about it. If that piece is missing, if we're missing this piece up here on one of the armored cars, nobody's going to know. I'm sure there's one of these Humbers running around in the desert without that piece on it. It keeps my model from looking perfect. Thank you. My sidekick is always my stomach making its interesting sounds. And I do mean my stomach. It's not the other thing. Wow, it was a growl. Don't mess with me or I will unleash my appetite upon you. Well, we were coming back on that drive from Nashville. It was about an hour or so. I don't know if it was exactly in Murfreesboro, but it was near there. It was in that area. And we drove back, and these people weaving and stuff, like visibly weaving. And I'm like driving under the speed limit. The speed limit was, say it was 65. I was going like 60, trying to keep an eye on people. That guy's acting a little weird. Let's go over here. Oh, that guy's acting crazy. Stay away from him, kind of thing. I'm in the right-hand lane, and I see this vehicle without its lights on because it is perpendicular to my direction of travel. I'm going this way on the interstate, and it's T-boned here, and it's funny because I can't remember if it's just one vehicle or it was two. You just don't have time. So it was enough that I slowed down, didn't hit him, and then looked around because, I'm thinking, well, who else is freaking drunk, right? And then, see ya. There was people that were getting out of it or whatever, but they basically were blind because even if they had their headlights are shining this way and you're traveling this direction. I'm like, sorry, my responsibility is to my family. Like, we're getting the F out of here. So, yeah, that's a good night to not do any traveling. And it was drizzle raining. Very, 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 very little. Very, very little drizzle raining. It's a good night to stay home. poured myself, I don't know how many figures of whiskey, about 3:30 when these people came over, when our guest came over, and we had to go get reinforcements. One of the people wanted to get something in particular. Nobody had too much to drink by any stretch of the imagination. But I'm like, I can't drive, so I'll go with you. And I didn't see any craziness out there. And I don't think I had anything to drink once I came back. But that's it. Pretty uneventful. As it should be. And then I heard this morning there was another one of those copycat guys in New Orleans. The lunatics and the and the lunatics that copied the lunatics. Okay. We're going to go ahead and glue this one in place. Jeffrey, remind me, is it Beza or Biza? It's probably Biza, because it's not what I would have thought. Big Biza and little Biza. The Biza from Ibiza. Okay, this is the back end, the non-business end. I guess I would make the back end, if it's not the business end that has the firearm, it is the pleasure end is the back. Hey, I'm just using logic. Tank nerd. Yeah, everybody's a nerd about something. You know what I can't ever get on board with is anime. I just don't understand any of the appeal of any of it. It's not me. Okay, this fits weird. There we go. I think I just solved it. There we go. That goes in like so. Now we just need to squeeze these other two in here. This goes on this side, this one goes on this side. So when I'm going overseas, I know I'm going to be asked where I'm from. And my response is going to be Florida. Because not everywhere in the U.S. is the same. Although I suspect people think that Florida is one thing and it's really something else, but I'll take that chance. Certainly in Spain. Especially in Spain. We're from the old colony. Instead of the old country, the old colony. Now, the lid to the fighting compartment. It's the same issue with the other one. This one's okay. It's the front is not quite lined up. Okay. Bisa. Oh, Besa. Okay, Bisa. Comes from the manufacturer, the Birmingham Small Arms. Oh, sorry. Birmingham Small Arms Company, British version of the Czech MG. I always say I'm Scottish, never British. Well, that may matter with some people. We don't dislike you guys any different. Although I did find it pretty humorous in Rogue Heroes, and I mentioned this the other day, when the Scots are making fun of them, of those guys wearing the berets. And I'm telling you, I'm looking at it from an outsider, and it's like, if I'm wearing a skirt, I'm not making fun of somebody's hat. I know, it's a kilt, not a skirt. Okay. Doesn't matter to me. I'm not wearing one. I don't have a problem with people wearing one. I'm just not going to wear one. Not my people. Yeah, I get it. So that's the same mentality as me. You don't want to be accused of being Welsh or something. I don't want to be accused from being from California. Why does this bloody bastard not fit? Because this was poorly designed. Kilt would be a boon in the desert. Ooh, there we go. Mind that gap. Mind that gap. Yeah, okay, cool. That's what we're going to do. It is pretty sick and twisted to be sending Scottish troops to the desert. That's like the most un-Scotland place ever. I mean, even sending them to the Pacific makes more sense. Like, why would you send Scots to the desert? Now, can we close the gap here? No, we're just going to leave it be. Yeah, it's not a great fit. It's not a great fit because of this piece. It's almost like it needs to have a little notch, and it doesn't have one. Now, this one's going to have an open hatch. Now go in. Yep. Most of the Scots that ended up in the desert were already on their way to the Far East before being diverted. So they were on the... Yeah, there's very few Scots units in Operation Crusader. I'm not saying that there aren't any, but the whole division isn't there. The whole division didn't show up until what's that, like Gazala or something like that? I'm not a Gazala expert. We're gonna do this early stuff before we worry about Gazala. Now let's see if I can retro this, because I should have fixed this the other day. But let's come in here like this, and then we're gonna come in here like this. That set of Scottish infantry from, who makes them? Is it Ravel? I mean, I am. You have no idea how dying I am to paint a bagpiper. I really want to paint a bagpiper badly, because then I can make really annoying noises when it's their turn. As a matter of fact, speaking of really annoying voices, these little bastards. This one in particular, you can hear this like 2 counties over. Yeah. I'm not going to blow it as loud as I can blow it. It's pretty freaking loud. They were shooting off some fireworks the next neighborhood over. And every time they shot it up in the air, it was like 1 o'clock, 12 in the morning, completely sober. I didn't have anything to drink after like 4 p.m., I think. Didn't need to. And yeah, every time they shot up some fireworks, I'd go after them with a horn. I'm pretty sure they heard me. The neighborhood that backs up to ours. All right, let's see if we can push this joker together. without damaging something. I may not be able to do it. I should have done this. We're going to leave it alone. This filled in nicely just by putting a tiny little notch in there. Hope I can find some tartan paint. Oh, you know I can. You know damn well I can handle that. That's like challenge accepted. And it'll look brilliant. And it will look brilliant. Now, let me put these two lads together. Probably going to use this guy with a binox. Not going to glue him in place. Got lots of different commanders we can use. And we're going to use this split hatch. Let's see what we got here. I am making some sprue goo to fill in the gaps of the kits I've built. Melt some sprue in a jar of Tamiya glue and then use it. What do you apply it with? I'm terrified of doing that. And the reason I'm terrified of doing that is not making the glue, but when you go to apply it, there's some, it's melting stuff too, so I'm afraid of it melting something else. What do you apply it with? Yeah, not only would I paint it tartan, I want to make sure I get the right clan. Because that stuff's important. It's heraldry. It's a form of heraldry. If anybody understands the importance of heraldry, it's this guy. That shit's cool. Unless you've got some kind of lame heraldry, like a guy bent over playing a horn out of his ass. Though the Highland regiments gave up their kilts in the 30s, they wore them for ceremonial occasions in Tunisia and the fall of Rome. Well, that's no fun. Now, I believe that this gentleman is made to have his separate arms pointed at his, looking through the binoculars up. That's at least the way the German one works. Doesn't fit properly unless you do that. Let's see if that's the case. Yep. And does he fit nicely in this hatch? Yes, he does. And that is a tight fit. That is a tight fit. I'm going to have to do that with one of the Valentines because I always like making fun of my stuff. No disrespect to the veterans, of course, but when funny stuff happens, you see funny things. I just can't help but do that. I saw something today. I gotta find it again. Is it this one? It's not this one, but it is the Tamiya kit. When I was looking for the hatch, and I'm like, man, those guys are really getting to know each other really closely. There's actually a better picture of them. I was like, hey, dudes on a date. Yes, I was looking for info on the hatch. Use cocktail sticks, toothpicks, or a sculpting tool. Oh, I like the toothpick idea. You have 2 figures and 1 of your Mark IV turrets. Yeah. All right, so you've read the SAS book, and does it just seem like they're trying to allude that Patty Mayne's a little? Not that there's anything wrong with that, but seems like you had a thing for that the other Irish guy, or is that Hollywood just trying to be woke when it's not necessary? I mean, if that's how the guy is supposed to be, definitely depict it. But yeah, this guy should be up like this with his goggles and his. Is Patty Mayne playing for the other team? I don't care who he's playing for. That guy is a loose cannon. At least the character is on the show. I wouldn't want to I wouldn't want to share a shell hole with him. Man, they do a good job of showing every Italian soldier seem like a dumbass, though. They are in the TV series. The book portrays him differently. Okay, so it's trying to be inclusive. Okay, so regardless of who's in here, we're going to have this hatch open. And this has the periscope, so it flips forward. So is there something to catch this open hatch? Let's remove it from here. And let's see what it looks like open. Because I may have to take some of that periscope off. Oh, never mind, it's this way. Let's see how far it sits downwards. Is there something to catch that thing? Let's see how flat it sits. So we want to look at a Humber Mark II, because that Valentine lays. I mean, that hatch is completely freaking flat on the roof, on the turret roof. Humber Mark II. I'll go 1/35. Let's see. On the Hasagawa one, it is not flat. On the Revell one, it is, which is the Matchbox one, it is not flat. On the box art, it is not flat. Not flat. Okay, so it's a little bit more erect than I would have liked. But as long as it's stable there, I'm okay with it. And we'll do the same thing with the back one. I guess the back one is just the same. Okay, and then let's see what this well, he looks the part. He definitely looks the part. Excellent. Okay. 2 honeys, 2 Humbers done. I'm gonna save this for later. I don't want to make decisions on the tires just yet. Obviously, it looks better with a tire, but where is our container of completeness? Tire, the Humber, and the Humber. Oh, yeah, we already put those little things on there. Worry about the jerry can stuff. It looks a lot better with a Commander in it, honestly. It gives you some more eye candy to look at. Excellent. All right. Now, back to the Valentine. Let's put that away. Let's put this away. Two sprues for Valentine. I saw that old Paint and Pans was made a post today. It's like, yep, I'm coming up with names from other site in case I don't get my thing back. I'm like, man, talk about a guy getting crucified for other people's sins. Like, that's just ridiculous. Where's the instructions for the Valentine? Here. Note to self, don't put German marching music in a video. I wasn't going to anyways. I mean, Now, once those bots get a hold of you, it's like, oh, it takes some effort to undo something that's done already. Nah, it's too much effort. Screw it. So here is this ugly duckling looking Mark II Valentine. It is unattractive. It is really unattractive. Now, I thought about something too late. I thought about something too late. And what I thought about something too late is there's two different sets of suspensions and two different top holes, but there's only one bottom. So, what happens if let me think about this out loud, make sure that this makes some sense. No, I don't think I can do that. I can switch these out and put the new running gear on the bottom one, but somehow the running gear has to be attached to the replaceable top. Well, let's take a look at it. Let's take a look at it and see if that's even an option. Because I don't need to have 6 Valentines. I'd be interested to switch in between. I want the option of making 3 of them Mark IIs and not have to commit to one of them being a Mark IX, which does not have a coax machine gun, which just seems like a perpetually, making mistake. It's like you got an infantry tank that has no machine gun in it at all, that has a main armament that's a 6-pounder that cannot fire HE. So literally the only purpose of having an infantry tank supporting infantry is to keep enemy tanks away from it. It can't, if it doesn't encounter any infantry, if it encounters nothing but infantry, it can't help the guys on the ground at all. I mean, unless you hit somebody directly with a 57mm gun, with a 6-pounder. There's just nothing wrong with the 6-pounder. It's a hell of a gun, but ooh, I found something of interest. This commander that comes in here has short sleeves on him, and I don't believe the other one does. I don't believe the other commander speaking into the microphone does. On the not the one on the Honey, the one on the Humber. That's correct, it is not. Okay, well, that's all the more reason not to glue a guy permanently in there. So, alright, bottom hull, Mark II suspension. The Mark II hull, even though it should be the other one, according to the instructions. So the question is going to be, can I attach these in such a way? I think I'm going to be able to do it. That this isn't permanently attached. I think I can do it. However, if I use the running gear that has the spokes, it'll be the wrong running gear for the, it won't be common to both of them. And I'll have to paint it in, I won't be able to do that desert pink one. Yeah, I'm not going to worry about all that stuff. I'm going to make one of them in a desert pink. for that one scenario, that City Boo Boo or something like that. All right, let's go to the silly end. You can make a Mark III out of it too, right? Mark III has a different turret. It's a better looking turret. Now that one I could switch out. I could make all the running gear is not going to be the same. All right, let's do a couple things. Let's do a semi-deep dive. Oh, okay. Let's take a look at what you sent me. Oh, I'm not able to access from. I'll have to do it on my computer and download that. Okay. So let's go and let's look at Valentine tank decals. Let me go this. This is probably the thing I trust more than anything else. I'm pretty comfortable with Echelon. 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 And let's see what kind of running gear is in here. These are all Valentine Mark IIIs. And my two choices are ones that look like they have spokes and ones that look like they are completely smooth. And this is neither one of the two, assuming that I don't have a book on the Valentine, do I? I don't. Let's look at this. Let's look at Valentine Mark III. Yeah, I want to look at Valentine tank. Let's see what we got here. Okay, this is an early one. This is a Mark. Oh, this is a Mark One. And this is shown as like literally spokes, and it's really not spokes at all. It's oblong style holes. Let me do this. Valentine tank wheel patterns. The Valentine tank walk around. Okay, we don't. Missing links, Peter Brown. Okay, so Peter Brown is one of these guys that's an expert. Peter Brown is a tank expert dude, supposedly. Some background. Let's see what he says about his one. Design for change used by British own division. Okay. Here's the marks. Okay. Model. I could probably use that same running gear on the bottom for all of them. My model represents a vehicle from the 40th Battalion Royal Tank Regiment on Ruisat Ridge in July 1942. Toga sheet gives full decals for the tank commanded by 2nd Lieutenant, see what I did that? L. Weard, named Culloden. Here's a vehicle 10 and C Squadron. Lieutenant. Well, that wasn't very useful. I was expecting something a little bit better. Let's see here. Valentine to Miss Bill's Bush Tank. Let me go infantry tank, Valentine tank, Mark III. Because I know I'm going to use this one if I was going to make a Mark II. So can I use that one if I'm making a Mark III? Ultimately, I'm going to be the only one that freaking cares. Yeah, they have like these oblong holes, not spokes. And the other ones don't have any holes at all. I'm sure we'll make the right decision. We always do. Always make the right decision with the information that's available. That's all you can do. I just don't want to wait until I decide to pony up the money to buy another set of these to do a Tunisian one. Because I think it would look really cool. A Marathline one. So the fit on this isn't great. If it had great fit, then I could just like not glue it and then switch these out as needed. And then if I assembled everything else, everything would fall into place. However, I could put in, let me take this down a little bit more. I could put in some stickum here to hold this in place. Because there's a crap ton of examples. I mean a crap ton of examples of 8th RTR Valentine units in Operation Crusader. And even though I think it's an ugly tank, especially in this variant, especially in the Mark IIs, which all of them in Operation Crusader would be Mark IIs, as far as I can tell. Heck, there were Mark IIs that were still in Tunisia. No, we don't want to throw you away just yet. I wonder if there's any late pattern wheels on Mark IIs. You know, the best look at Valentine is this one. Now it's starting to look pretty good. And it's just from certain angles, like it looks good from the front. It just doesn't look good like this. Yeah, see, the Mark III running gear is like the same as the Mark II running gear. It doesn't really look any different. Yeah, these two guys. Hey, why doesn't that guy put his hands out where I can see him? I'm gonna build this with the Mark II running gear on the bottom, and I'll build the other one with the newer one. sprocket goes on this one that has the extended thing. So this needs to be like this. All right, the other pieces that we need to take out are this one that's the front and this one that's the back. Now I'm going to see if I can get away with not gluing the upper superstructure to it. We will see. A lot of the pieces on the martyr were that way. You didn't have to glue them on. They fit in there so well. So, we'll try to glue this here, just across the bottom. Let's remove this. Is there anything holding this into place on the inside? There is. Just put a little bit of cement there, and a little bit here. And we're going to attempt to glue that into place and just leave it alone like that. And that fits in place just fine, okay? Let's do the same thing in the front. That one definitely will work. And now once this dries, I should be able to switch the top holes of both vehicles. So that if I want to make it a Mark III or a Mark whatever, or the other Mark 9 with the running gear, I can. Of course, if I have the wrong running gear, I think I'll be okay. I'm not going to worry about that detail. It's worth it for the extra flexibility. Okay, the Mark II turret that is ate up with flash. And here's that hatch I was talking about that you can't tell which way's forward. It's got to pick one. Oh, you know what? Shit, I hope I didn't screw this up. One hatch is bigger than the other. One section's bigger than the other one. Well, that I should be able to find. I hope I did it right. How did I not notice that? I have the larger section forward. That would make sense because it would provide more protection. Valentine tank Mark II turret drawing. Let's find the Mark II. It's bigger to the front. Hallelujah. God be praised. Yep. Now this thing has so much flash on it, it's embarrassing. Hey, it comes with a Russian commander figure. We won't be using his happy ass. We're going to use the back of this X-Acto. And the same thing with the top here. Like I said, this just takes a heck of a long time to do this. When it shouldn't. It's all these should be quick build models. Okay, let's go and glue those two halves together. And the roof. And the back. This is the piece that goes on the back, isn't it? I mean, I built one of them together. Yep. Something queer is afoot. Oh, did we put this 180 degrees wrong? Well, that's interesting. Yep. Right here I think I'm smarter than the instructions. Hey, no harm, no foul. There we go. All right, now the ugly duckling front of this. we drill out the barrel of this thing? Oh yeah, we did. Right in the middle. Perfect. And there's another barrel that needs to be drilled out. This is for the bisa. And make sure you have the rounded part of the mantlet up towards the top. So we're going to put another little mark there where that goes. This one you got to be a little creative. Because you got to drill this in a way that you don't mess up this 2-pounder barrel. Alright, let's do this flush. Okay, and this is going to get fed through. Here. And then we're going to go ahead and drip some in here, drip some in there. And install that as such. We have this removable, so it can go like this. And we should be able to drop this. Might end up being too flimsy, in which case we won't do it. We won't do it again, but hey, it's worth a shot. Now the only catch is I'm not going to be able to do this with desert pink, because the desert pink is different enough. Yes, I know. But this, I could make this a Mark III, paint them both in light light stone, as opposed to the other color, which I'm likely to paint them in light stone anyways. and then I can just switch out the tops, because the Mark IIs are always going to have the sand skirts. It's really hard to find a picture of a Mark II without sand skirts. So I can use this for a Mark III, or even you know, if the wheels don't bother me too much, a Mark IX, but it would have to be a Mark IX that's not in desert pink. So it's this Mark II turret that's very unattractive. It's very small, but hey, it is what it is. So hold on one second. Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and stop right here. I got dinners are coming. So thanks for stopping by, folks, and we'll catch you guys on the next one, where we're going to try to make multiple uses